All right, guys, I know you're itching to know what's next, and let me tell you, I'm not sure. But this is going to be cool. Can you guys just envision me just like sitting here gaming? Can you see it? There we go. It's been a minute, but as you can clearly see, I've been busy. If you don't know me and haven't been keeping up with the channel, my name is Jaden. I'm currently converting this 40-foot school bus that I'm in into my full-time off-grid tiny home on wheels, documenting the entire thing here on this channel. So if you like that kind of thing and want to keep up with the progress from start to finish, here's the place to do it, so go ahead and subscribe. So it's been a sec since I've uploaded anything, but clearly I haven't been doing nothing. Bailey, what do you see? I don't think you know what you're looking at. If you have been keeping up with the channel, you know what I've done so far on the bus leading up to this point. I believe the last thing that I showed you guys was my electrical system build, which if you haven't seen that, it's a pretty cool video. I recommend going to watch it. I'll pin it up at the top somewhere right here. But that's kind of like the last big project I had before doing kind of everything else. And that turned out really well. And as you can see, I've completed my finished walls, completed in quotation marks because they're not fully done yet, but they are all up and I'm super stoked with how this looks. And so I'll put in some clips of me working on this wall system, but basically it's a 3-layer system. I have my insulation, I have my vapor retarder, and then I have my finished walls. So the insulation that I used was rock wool insulation, and the reason I went with rock wool is really a combination of a few different factors. The first reason I chose rock wool over other kinds of insulation is just the cost of it versus other insulation types. So basically, if you've been investigating like the Skoolie space or van conversions or RV conversions or whatever, you'll know that pretty much the best quote-unquote option for insulation is closed cell spray foam. It's just the best performing. It's a built-in vapor barrier and it's super rigid. So it's a really good product, don't get me wrong. But it's really expensive and it's difficult to do if you're trying to do it yourself. From what I understand, it's really, really difficult to get perfect if you've never done it yourself or don't have the professional equipment. You can go online and buy different DIY kits for closed cell spray foam, but you have to get the temperature right. I believe, I can't remember what the kind of range you have to apply closed cell spray foam in, but it's pretty warm. I believe it's somewhere between like 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. You have to have the actual container, so you have to maintain the temperature of it while you're applying it. The other thing too is you have to have your mixtures perfectly accurate. If your mixtures are off, from what I understand, it can not only be a lot more dangerous to work with, as in toxic. It's already toxic when it's like off gassing for 2 or 3 days after you install it, but it also might not cure like you want it to. It might cure, from what I understand, too soft or like in a really weird way that diminishes the R value and just is kind of stuck there and really difficult to get off if you get it wrong. And then you can always go and hire a professional. Actually, a professional spray foam installer lives like 2 blocks away from where I'm doing this build. And the thought crossed my mind to go and try to hire them to do this, but it just doesn't make sense to pay for labor and a more expensive insulation, in my opinion. And it kind of goes against the entire idea of this build being a fully DIY school bus conversion. So with those 2 things kind of taken into consideration, I was like, okay, I'm not doing closed cell spray foam. The next option that I was looking at was Havelock wool. Havelock wool is a really cool insulation product, I believe. I've never used it, but from what I can see and understand, it's really well performing. It's super safe to work with, non-toxic. You don't have to wear gloves. It's not gonna like poke you with fiberglass or any kind of weird compounds getting into your skin. That was what I was looking into actually before I looked into rock wool, and again, it was just super, super expensive. I want to say with the rock wool, I used about 5.5 bats for the walls. And each bat was about, I believe, $75. So quick math, we're looking at probably around $400 with the taxes and everything for insulation, which is not bad at all. Looking at Havelock wool for the same amount, I was looking at closer to $1,000 or more. So that being said, I was like, okay, I definitely can't spend over double on Havelock than I would on rock wool. So that's why I landed on rock wool. And I didn't even bother really looking into fiberglass because I don't like fiberglass. I don't think it's a good insulation product, at least not for this application. And when there are so many other better, more affordable options in my opinion. And then I was also looking at like the rigid foam board, which is what I used for my subfloor. But like this stuff right here, this stuff is really good. I mean, it's got a really high compressive strength to it, and it's a really good insulator. It's a built-in vapor barrier as well. But working with this stuff, getting these pieces to fit behind the strapping and go around curves and whatever, it just sounded like a huge hassle. So I was like, nah, not doing that. So I landed on rock wool. The cool thing about rock wool is it is fire repellent. No, it's fire resistant, and it's water repellent. So kind of best of both worlds when we're talking about a mobile application like this. It's going to repel water, so it's not going to soak in water and get all disgusting and rotted and moldy like you see fiberglass do. And it's good with fire resistance because it's like made with rocks. That's what the name comes from. It's a mineral wool, so it's literally got like chunks of rock just like mixed in with it, like fine rocks and like some little chunks you find here and there. And it's really easy to work with. I mean, wear gloves and probably a respirator or a mask or something like that while you're working on it, just to not inhale the dust because it is a little bit dusty. But super easy to work with, super easy to cut, super easy to place up. It holds well within the walls. Yeah, super straightforward process there. So the next thing after I installed my rock wool insulation was to do a vapor retarder. Now, in my area, this is gonna vary depending on where you are geographically. There's maps that you can look at that tell you what kind of vapor barrier or vapor retarder you should use. But in my area, it recommended a class 1 or a class 2 vapor retarder. So not a vapor barrier. And when I was looking at different options, this CertainTeed Smart Membrane was kind of jumping out at me as the best option for what I need. It's a class 2 vapor retarder as well as a class A vapor retarder, meaning I believe it's like rated for fire resistance or whatever, which is good. But the cool thing about the smart membrane part is apparently, I don't know how all this works, but apparently it kind of opens itself up and closes itself up kind of depending on the humidity, the moisture in the air, the temperature, things like that. So like in the winter time, it's going to close itself up more, and in the like summertime or whenever it's hot, it's going to expand and open itself up a little bit more to let moisture like move through. So I don't know how all that works, but apparently it's a good option. We will see. we'll see what happens if and when I have mushrooms growing out of my walls, or I see a moldy spot right here on the wall. That would be a bummer, but you know, we'll see if it works. And then I just used some Everbuilt seam tape to tape up all my seams, put in like little patches around where I needed to, just to make sure that as much as possible there were no holes in the vapor retarder going down. Now the vapor retarder thing, kind of, I mean, it matters for sure, but if you're going to be planning on like moving your vehicle, which most of us probably are if we're building a house out of a vehicle, I mean, you're more than likely going to be in different climates, so do with that information what you will. But where I'm at, I felt like it made sense to do the class 2 vapor retarder, so that's what I did. And then when I got that up, it was finished wall time. So I used 3/4 inch birch plywood from my local Home Depot, unfortunately. I mean, not unfortunately, but if you know anything about like Skoolie conversions or things like that, you may know about Baltic birch, which is kind of the cream of the crop as far as plywood goes, as far as I understand. Main difference being it is fully birch all the way through. So like this piece of birch plywood right here, this sheet, it's got a birch veneer on this side and the flip side, but all the sheets, all the layers in between, like here, I'll show you. It's got however many layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. So it's got a thin veneer of birch on the front and back side, but all this stuff in between, that's not birch. What kind of wood is it? No idea, but I just know it's not birch. And that's an issue mainly for strength and anti-warping and anti-delamination of the plies. How much of a difference it makes in this kind of context, I really don't know. If I could have swung it to get birch or Baltic birch plywood, I definitely would have, but that stuff is expensive. Very expensive. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but I wanted to say it was in the realm of like 120 to 150 bucks plus per sheet. Yeah, that's crazy. That is insane. I mean, this is already insane. This stuff was 75 bucks a sheet. Insane. It's crazy. So how many sheets did I do? 12 sheets. I think I spent right around 900 or 1,000 bucks on plywood, which is a lot, I know, but I think it turned out really well. And I went with 3/4 inch birch mainly because of its holding power compared to 1/2 inch birch. It's like double, I want to say, around there. So not that I would have had an issue with 1/2 inch plywood either way, but let's just say I'm, in the future, I'm putting up cabinets right here, and I don't want to worry about having to go through the plywood where my strapping is. I just want to be able to tack it in wherever on the plywood and be sure it's going to hold strong, especially as I'm moving down the road. So yeah, 3/4 inch birch plywood, 12 sheets, did the entirety of the walls, utilizing some offcuts in the back, 2 corners, trying to make sure that I have as full sheets as I possibly could going towards the back. And yeah, that's basically it. You might be able to see I also have installed all of my outlets. They are all on and in working order, which is sweet. Really digging it. It's gonna be so nice to have. Like, I have a lot of outlets. Like, I have, let's see, 2 in the bedroom. I have 1 triple outlet thing kind of towards the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. I'll show you in a second. For my office space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is in my bathroom. 7 here for my kitchen GFCI. 8, 9 for my other kitchen outlets. 10 to your left is my dinette. 11 is to your right, and that's my first living room one. 12, second living room one. So 12 outlets in total. Totally overkill, but it's going to be so nice to have outlets wherever I need them. And there's absolutely no way I'll ever use all of them all at once, but just being able to have outlets wherever I need them for anything I need them for is going to be super nice, I can already tell. And as I went along, I also installed my light switches. So I have this one installed for my hallway. I have 2 behind you that I'll show you in a second installed for my kitchen and living room, basically. I still haven't installed the bedroom and bathroom because I haven't installed those walls on there. But anyway, that's enough yapping right here. Let me take you on a tour. So I know you were facing the back. Here's facing the front with all my junk up here. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with all this scrap plywood, but I know for a fact I ain't throwing it away because this stuff is expensive and it's good plywood. So I'll find some uses for it, I know. I'm kind of like a hoarder in that way. I see something like this and I'm like, I must have a use for it at some point in the future. Who knows? So yeah, I've got, you can see these outlets now that you couldn't before. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? It's looking good. Looking pretty good. This is going to be the finish color right here. Kind of. It's going to be a little bit darker and a little bit glossier. This is tung oil. So this is what I'm using to finish all of the walls. Mainly because I like the color of it. And secondly, tung oil, from what I understand, is a good option to prevent like mildew and mold growth, but also to allow water and moisture to dry out if and when it gets between like the wall and the insulation. Basically what I wanted to avoid was sealing everything up so good that it basically created like a sandwich effect for water getting, if water ever got in between the walls and the insulation, which no doubt it will, that's life. It needs to be able to dry out somehow. And if I were to seal it up with like a few layers of like an oil-based polyurethane or something like that, it would seal it up to the point where the wood couldn't breathe and it wouldn't be able to dry out. So it would definitely promote more mold and mildew growth that way, from what I understand. So tung oil, as far as I know, is a good option to allow for breathability and to allow it to dry out if and when any moisture gets in there. So that's what I'm doing. I still need to do like 1 or 2 more coats on this sheet to finish it up, and then do some sanding in between the coats. But that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of these, but not today and not tomorrow, but I will soon. It's just going to make it a lot warmer in here, I feel like. Anyway, let me flip you around and let's continue the tour. So we have the kitchen area right here. Essentially, the kitchen is going to start right at this window. This is where my oven's going to be. So it's going to go oven, counter space, counter space, counter space, sink, turn, counter space right here, cabinetry, cabinetry, and then maybe some like high open shelves above the windows. My dinette's going to go right here. My living room is right here, so it's just going to be like a couch from basically this outlet to that outlet. My fridge is going to go right here, as well as a built-in pantry for food. Continuing on, we have the emergency door, which I've been debating on taking out or leaving in. I'm leaving it in. I like having it. Stepping up into our hallway box. Walking through the hallway. And let me turn around. There's the light switch I was showing you earlier for the hall lights. And then here's something cool. So this is how it turned out for my AC and DC distribution panels. I'm pretty proud of this, mainly because I didn't do any measurements. So I kind of just like free cut the holes and they ended up lining up pretty much perfectly. And they look really sleek and low key, and they're not impeding anything. I don't know, I just like the look of them. So got my AC distribution panel, got all my breakers set up and everything like that. Got my DC distribution panel, which is harder to take off. Got all my fuses in there, pretty nice stuff. If you're curious about how I installed these initially, go check out that installation video for my electrical system. Going into the bathroom from here, here's the bathroom. So I got my toilet there. It's all plumbed in and wired up. I did that in, I believe, my very last video that I did. So I'll pin that right up here as well. If you're curious how I installed my toilet and vented it out through the floor, go watch that. But yeah, basically Nature's Head composting toilet. It's wired in for the fan right here. It's like spliced in with the supply wired to my hot water heater or water heater. And then this tube right here, you can't see it. This tube right here vents around and down through the floor and then kind of out next to the wheel well. So no smells are going to be staying in here. And then I've got my bathroom outlet right here. Very nice. GFCI, baby. Whatever that is. I just know you have to have it if it's going to be moist in here. So the plan for the bathroom. Let me tell you. Plan for the bathroom is toilet, shower, washer dryer combo, shelf over washer dryer combo, cabinet over shelf over washer dryer combo. Yeah, that's basically it. Toilet paper rack right here. And then some cool art or something, I don't know. Sliding door of some sort. Sliding door of some sort for the shower. Have you guys seen the there's like some special RV sliding door for showers? Probably gonna do that, or like a curtain. Nice little curtain, doesn't hurt. Continuing. So here's my electrical enclosure. I have somewhat closed it off, and inside you can see all the bits and pieces working to give me light. And this is where my bed's gonna be. So bed's gonna start basically right here, and it's gonna be a full queen size bed. It's gonna go the entire width of the bus here, which is gonna be really nice. And then the way I'm planning on doing this, you can see that it's like built out from the back. It's not like fully to the back. There's like a good 2 feet of space back there, a little over 2 feet of space. And so the plan is to essentially wherever the top of the mattress is going to come, build a shelf, like a backstop for the bed up, and then build a shelf over to basically the shelf over the rear door. And then have a bunch of like built-in storage solutions that's basically going to house all of my, clothes, books, because I totally read, games, whatever else, and then my mini split up there kind of in the center. I'm also going to house my fresh water tank down behind the enclosure, basically the entire width of the back as well, and then I'm going to build like a little platform over it for garage space. It's going to be like a 2 foot wide by 4.5 or 5 feet tall by 8 feet or so of garage space, which is going to be huge. One thing I was racking my brain about when I was starting to build this is how am I going to store things that I need to store, like tools or, tools mainly, but like anything that I don't want like immediately in the living quarters. How am I going to store that? And I wanted to figure out like a garage solution, and I think that's going to be a really good one. And then I got this pile right here of trash that's taking up about, I don't know, a good 3.5 by 4 or 5 foot section right there. But I have a plan for this, or I have 2 ideas for a plan. First idea is storage. Of course, I could put some really huge deep drawers in here, which would be freaking sweet. And I may kind of do a combination of these ideas, but the other idea is for a doghouse slash like safe spot for Bailey. I don't know if you guys know, but there's a YouTube channel out there called Trent the Traveler. I really like watching that guy's videos, but in his little camper van, he has a little cubby for his dog, Millie, that kind of hides under his bed. And I thought that was a really cool idea, and I wanted to implement some kind of thing like that in my build. And I think this spot right here is going to be the perfect spot for it. Not only is it going to be a nice little spot for Bailey to like hang out at, not that she would ever sleep there, she exclusively sleeps on the bed with me. But if I'm driving, like I would be doing, I don't necessarily want her like free roaming the bus, not entirely safe. So I may have this like nice little safe enclosure for her to be at when I'm driving. Who knows? I might do a combination, like a little enclosure and then a pull-out drawer on top, or something like that. Maybe pull-out drawer on the bottom. I really don't know, but I do like the idea of giving Bailey some of her own space. Even though this is a really small space to begin with, and I need all the space I can get, Bailey deserves some of her own space as well, so I'm going to give that to her. And then I've got my gaming slash working slash whatever else section for my computer. So desk is going to go basically to this wall, to wherever the wall is here, so about like a 3.5 or 4 foot section for my desk, which is going to be tight. Have my PC down there, have a little wall mounted monitor right here. Got my 3 outlets for all of my outlet needs. I didn't want to have to fuss around with an extension cord, because right now I have like 2 extension cords plugged in, because I need like 5 outlets for 2 monitors, a PC, a Wi-Fi like extender. That's basically it. So I didn't want to have to mess around with getting extension cords up in here, so that's why I did a triple, and these are all wired in together with the kitchen outlets and the dinette outlet. But this is going to be cool. Can you guys just envision me just like sitting here gaming? Can you see it? It's gonna be sick. And then I got Bailey. Bailey's been so good at being good and patient with me while I haven't been giving her attention and been working on the bus. She's excited for it though. She knows the word bus now. So there's 2 things we basically get excited about, and one is going to the P word, park, and the other one is going out to the bus. And I say, do you want to go out to the bus? And she gets super excited, and she goes, not to my car, which is where She goes when I say park, but she goes right to the front door of the bus. It's awesome. You're so smart. Yes, you are. Oh, you just burped in my face. And that's my home so far. All right, guys, I know you're itching to know what's next. And let me tell you, I'm not sure. Not sure at all. There's a lot of different directions I can go from here. One direction I could go is, installing my ceiling, whatever I want to do for my finished ceiling. I could insulate it, put up my vapor retarder, put up my finished ceiling, and be done with that. But I kind of don't want to do that yet because I need to make sure that, for one, my running lights are wired in, because I stupidly cut them when I was doing a wire detox, so I need to rewire those, and I've just been putting it off. So I'll be running those wires kind of through the ceiling. I need to figure out, I just need to basically splice in an extra like 2 feet of wire to each of these wires that feed from the bus breaker box to the back. So it can actually like sit up here, because it's not long enough with the roof raise that I did to like fully tuck up in there yet. So need to splice those in, and I can't do that after I do the ceiling. And I'm going to be doing some kind of like camera security system, which is going to need some wires, of course, and whatever else. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm probably going to be still running through the ceiling that I don't want to close off access to quite yet. So ceiling, probably not next. What probably is next is my plumbing, actually. So plumbing, what does that entail? Just getting water from one area to another. Basically, it's going to be a 100-gallon water tank in the back. It's going to plumb through on the interior, basically this way, on only this side of the bus, and it's going to plumb into my shower. It's going to plumb into where I'm going to have my washer dryer combo. It's going to plumb into my hot water heater. It's going to plumb into my sink, and then that's about it. And then I'll have some kind of drainage system for a gray water tank somewhere under here. Haven't quite determined where I'm going to mount that yet, but there are a few options that I'm looking into. Haven't really put much thought into that because I've been so just like consumed with getting these finished walls done. So that's probably what's next. There's a bunch of little stuff that I got to do too. But yeah, plumbing's definitely on the docket for sure. I don't know, man. This is just so cool having full-on working outlets in the bus and no fires have started. Call that a success. So in conclusion, this is what I've been doing for the past couple weeks, and I really like it. I am super, it's like, look at, like, it feels like, I mean, it doesn't feel like a home necessarily quite yet, but like it's starting to look like a friggin' home, man. It's so cool. I'm really digging it. Obviously, I'll still need to insulate and, panel up the front and back caps, but that's something that can wait for sure. It's kind of the same deal as the ceiling. Yeah, man, that's kind of all I got right now. That's what I've got. So hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions about how I did this more, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to go into anything in greater detail. It's nothing too crazy, just insulation, vapor barrier, plywood, screws. That's basically it. And remember, guys, I am doing a full build series here on this channel, documenting everything as much as I can, at least, of this entire build from start to finish. So if you like that kind of thing, make sure to subscribe and you can keep up with all my progress. With that, that's all I got. So I'll go ahead and see you in the next one.